We've got over. Oh, good. Which is a pretty good time. Plus some spouses and stuff. They figure about 130 people are gonna. Oh, nice. Be there. So yeah. Right, everybody. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It is 4:30 and Chairman Scott was not able to be here today. So I would like to call this meeting of the New Bern Housing Authority to order and ask that we have a roll call made, please.
Commissioner Bagel.
Here.
Commissioner Copeland.
I'm here, sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Outlaw. Commissioner Powell.
Present.
Commissioner Reddick.
Here.
Commissioner Scott. We do have a forum.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Barnard, did anybody pre-register for public comment today?
I think nobody pre-registered, but Ms. Carr, did you
want to?
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
No, ma'am.
Okay, we'll go to staff comments next. Okay, perfect. Anything from the staff staff comments? Okay, none. Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from the March 25th meeting. They were in your packet.
Oh, it's in your.
And just a note, in your packet today, or in your packet, you were sent February meeting minutes, but we had already approved those at our March meeting. So the only minutes you need to approve today will be the March 25th minutes that were in your packet. Let's be ready. I will take a motion.
Make motion.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion from Dana Outlaw and a second from Commissioner Powell. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Julianne, can you present with the finance report?
Good evening, everyone. We'll start with the consolidated income statement ending March 31st, 2024. Total operating revenue for Trent Court is $163,866. For the Ross Grant, $16,541. For New Bern Towers, $299,491. The next page, total expenses for Trent Court, $303,957. The Ross Grant, $21,093. For New Bern Towers, $265,416. You'll see total other revenue in Trent Court for the operating funds from the capital grants. That's $1,311,174. Total profit for Trent Court, $1,171,083. For the Ross program, negative $4,552. And for New Bern Towers, $34,075.
Okay, for the record, the negative on the Ross is just a timing issue and the money will be put back in there.
It's gone down on April 8th, so you'll see it in the April statement.
And then for the benefit of the other commissioners that weren't at the finance meeting, I just want to compliment Julianne. She did a really good job. You know, I've been asking about the numbers and being able to back into them when we see the amount of money we have taken in, you know, for the towers and Trent Court. And I was asking a lot of questions. So she broke it down. And I assumed, is this sent to all the commissioners? Do they get to see this?
Whoever received the finance packet received it, but I can send it.
Yeah, if you will do this, just the definition part of it. So people, the other commissioners, I think they would be good to see. And now I know how to back into the numbers that I see that are deposited monthly. We can understand where those numbers came from. And she did a great job in listing it out. So again, thank you. Julianne's done an excellent job in trying to get this to help us to understand and back into the deposits and the monies that are being received and where they come from and where they go. And Julianne has also said that BDO has been really good in helping, you know, get all of this stuff straightened out. The report is much easier to read if you look at it, and it really does make a lot of sense, finally. You are so welcome. Thank you.
Jim has a question.
Oh, Jim, you have a question?
just because first of all, I agree completely with Sabrina that it's already a lot easier for me to follow, and I definitely would love to see the more broken out numbers on this. I guess I've just got sort of this general question, and it may be an obvious answer, but explain to me a little bit about the capital grants that are broken out here separately that total 1.3 million, and how that fits in with the operating revenues and expenses above.
So each year HUD allocates capital funds. So the budget is operating income from HUD and capital funds for improvements. So there are several line items from an operation standpoint, as well as any capital improvements, maintenance type items, vehicles, lawn care equipment, any of those items can be spent on that. When you are a small housing authority, less than 250 units, you don't have to go by the detailed budget line item. You're able to move those funds into operations, and then you lump those into your operating expenses. So therefore, it helps you to cover all of your operating expenses, opposed to just specifically allocating them by a specific line item within a capital budget if you were a larger housing authority. Because smaller agencies need that funds for operations. So what HUD did several years back is they alleviated the issue of having you to just specifically have it by line item if you're a small agency. So it allows you to take that and move it to what they call 1406 line item, and then you get to dump it into your operations.
And so
what you see here and what Julianne has provided is, if you look at the breakdown that she has, is the 18 at the end is the fiscal year of that particular funding. So the first one that has the 420,000, that's capital fund 18. 19 was the 132 she drew down. 275 was the capital fund year 20, and 2021 funds had to be spent a while back because that was after COVID, and that was special funding that HUD provided. So those funds had to be spent before the previous years in order to be in compliance with HUD. They give you a total of 5 years to expend and obligate those funding, but so that's why we're still drawing down some of those funding years at this time.
And what is the rationale for it just being like within this month? I mean, this is a 1 month snapshot where we're drawing the 1.3 million. I guess I'm just a little confused by that all.
No, go ahead, Julianne.
No, sir, the income statement in the board packet is consolidated for the year. Another reason it looks like a lot is because with the changes in personnel, we were not able to draw down from HUD for a certain period of time. So that's why it looks like a lot more, because we're still catching up those funds.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
these have all been drawn down this year.
It's just, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's all good. It's just a little hard for me to square, but I'll look at it and get me the more detailed financial stuff, and I'll look at it. And if I've got questions.
So also, just for transparency and clearance, to what Julianne is saying, when Tiffany left in September and I came on board, I was not able, and Julianne was not able, we were not able to access those funds because Tiffany was still in the system. So we have to wait until HUD takes her out of the system, and then Bishop then, as chair, has to sign off on me and Julianne with her leaving to be able to access it. Then it was an issue from HUD's standpoint that Bishop, as the approving official, was also the only person that could authorize funds at that period of time. Well, you can't be the same person to authorize funds and also the person approving the drawdowns. So then we had to go through a process of getting him to approve someone else to then be able to allow that person to then be able to authorize other staff to have certain rights. And then they went back, and so when they went back in the system, then they also identified that what was the commissioner that was here before, Chair? Mr. Monty was still in their system. So there were a lot of different, so there's some steps that we had to go through. So I just want to explain to you all what transpired in order, as Julianne is saying, to us to get all of that cleaned up, to get all of those old commissioners out of the system, get Bishop approved as chair, get me as approved as interim, get Julianne approved, and then that made us square that we can be able to draw down.
All completed now.
All of that's done. It just took a while, and if you ever work with HUD, nothing happens. So.
Fun to know
Doesn't
that.
see any of these drawdowns right here if we weren't approved.
Yeah, so everything's good. It just took a while, and then it took some approval, and then you submit it in, it has to go to DC, then they have another system that they approving process. So it takes a little while to get all of the approvals in place.
Okay, does that help, Jim?
That helps a lot. And then just sort of one more follow-up on here again. On the CFPs, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 18, 19, 20, and 22. And the first 3 years track across and the 22 doesn't.
I just forgot to put the formula straight across. I apologize.
Okay, got it.
That's the only reason it's not in there.
Oh, in there. Oh, yeah.
So we're really about almost $500,000 above that.
Correct.
Which makes sense because when you look at the other lines at the bottom. Got it. Okay,
right.
Great.
Okay, are there any other questions regarding the financial report? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the financial report.
I make a motion.
Okay, Janelle, and a second. Second, Commissioner Outlaw. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we'll move on to you, Reggie, with the executive director's report.
Okay, the first thing I want to talk about, we got a letter from the City of New Bern's Police Department regarding the support for the Shot Spotter implementation program. When I say they, the city covered that expense for the first year of that program. We utilize it as beneficial in New Bern Towers as well as in Trent Court from that perspective. And what it is, it's a gunshot detection acoustics program technology. So therefore, if they hear a gunshot, it's able to pick it up immediately and they can be able to address it in real time. So from that perspective, it's been extremely beneficial, especially in Trent Court, in particular in recent months with certain shootings and those kinds of things. And so what the city has done at this point through the police department is they're asking for local community support, corporate support, and community support. I'm bringing it to you all because I would like to be able to sit down with the police department to make sure that New Bern Towers as well as Trent Court is contributing its fair share towards this system. And I don't know what that cost allocation is at this time, but I would like the approval of the board to be able to meet with the police department to see what our appropriate fair share would be to continue to support that program, because I do think it's beneficial for the community.
When you say we utilize it, what does that mean?
Well, in the sense that it's citywide. You follow me? So it's citywide. So when there's a shooting.
I mean, I thought you were going to say our directors had access in some kind of way. When you said we.
No, I mean, we, the community, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
As an agency.
Okay.
As an agency, we utilize it and get the benefit of having this system in place. And so from the housing authority standpoint, more so than some of the other communities, and that's not to say that crime doesn't happen somewhere else. However, being able to support and assist with this program in the community, I think, again, I want to make sure with your support that we provide our fair share to that annual cost that the city is bearing to continue to support that system.
Somebody give me a time limit on making any comment on this, because I could talk about 2 hours on how do you pro-rata the, thank you very much.
I'll tell you this, I did make a few phone calls to try to understand what was going on here because I had that first reaction too. So it's a 3-year contract. And so the city has committed to the 3-year contract, but, you know, basically saying we'll fund the first year, but the chief felt confident that he could get out in the community and raise some corporate support and whatever to defray.
How much has he raised?
Well, I think they just supported this letter.
Yeah.
Just
I'd
recently.
be interested in knowing. I mean, I wouldn't want just us.
But
go out.
I think at this point, what Mr. Barner's looking for is just direction from this board to say, it's okay for me to go and meet with the chief. He'll have to come back to us and say, okay, I met with the chief and he thinks our pro rata, if we wanted to get involved, let's just say 10,000. I don't know that that's the number. That would be our pro rata. And then he'd ask the board, would we want to
I mean, it's kind of like
create that amount of money?
Systematically, statistically finding that one area in New Bern has more fires, and the fire department wants to put in some kind of a suppression or some type of a system similar to this to recognize like a heat source thing. Should that area holistically or non-holistically have to pay a larger proportional share to get this service? I don't know. It's a great concept. I don't mind you meeting my part of it, but how are you going to equitably do that, and what organizations are going to participate or not? I would probably have a lot of questions. So, but please do meet with them.
Okay.
But now I do know there are cities that have gotten the system and have decided not to continue with it. I don't know.
Such as, do you know? Can you tell us?
I don't have that information with me,
Okay.
but I do know there are some cities that, for one reason or another, decide not to continue the service. I don't know. I'm dangerous right here.
Any experience or knowledge of this?
No, the only thing that little bit I do know about it is that last shooting that happened, that had we had that help would have gotten there sooner than what it did, because people were, for whatever reason, reluctant to call.
I think since this has been implemented, from what I understand, there has been a shooting and it was seconds that the police department was able to respond versus minutes. So it was helpful in that sense. And that's my understanding.
Kind of, I mean, out of a $50,000 budget, what would be an equitable proportion for?
Well, I don't know, but I want to do, I want to go back to Commissioner Powell's statement. The reality of it is, good, bad, and indifferent. The reality of it is that we do face, when we're dealing with public housing, is a reluctance of people to come forward.
Absolutely.
And so, as you said, being able, I mean, I'm just going to share it. My staff were out there and were passing out flyers. And when that young man, the guy walked up and shot that guy, they literally had just walked around the corner when that occurred. And so when they walk back, they see somebody's laying on the ground, people running, but literally they were out there that day. And so you're right, in the event that if nobody's calling and people are reluctant to call, I got my staff out there in harm's way as well. And so again, Dana, I don't know what that appropriate cost allocation would be. I'm just sharing with you. As you said, I think in those areas that we cover, it is a very beneficial deterrent of knowing that if a shooting happens in Trent Court or one of our properties, that because of the sensor that's there, police will be there within seconds to be able to facilitate that. I don't know the answer to it. I mean,
well, I'll tell you, if you're over there and
You got 30 seconds.
there are other issues. I mean, have you ever been in Craven Terrace and seen the amount of speeders going through there and 2- and 3-year-old kids? I mean, there's a lot of other issues that I don't know. I would put money toward getting rid of the speeders in there. I'm telling you, there's some small kids walking around. Sure. And how somebody has not yet run over, I don't know. But
well, I would, since Alderman Prill's here, I guess, can you address, or would you like to add any comments to what we've been talking about since you all voted to incorporate the system?
Well, the system is, I think, only about a month old at this point. So the board has yet to receive any feedback And it's early on, so can't expect that. Commissioner Outlaw is correct. There have been a couple of larger cities in the country that have opted to stop participating with the program. I don't have any details as to why those decisions were made, but it's not unusual, I think, for new programs to be implemented, and sometimes they fall by the wayside. So we're in a learning curve right now. It'll be a while to really understand the results of the program and whether they are truly beneficial for New Bern or not. And that's why the term of the contract is limited to the 3-year time.
So you did, I was correct. It was a 3-year contract, correct? That you voted on a 3-year contract.
Yeah. And the chief has not yet identified the fundraising effort that he has in mind. Hopefully there will be the community as a whole, whether it be individual donations or commercial, corporate, business donations. I would expect there'll be all of that come into play in an effort to offset most, if not all, the costs of the annual cost for the program for the next couple of years.
Jim, thank you. Jim, did you have a question? Comment?
Yeah, just a few comments here on this. I mean, I think, first of all, Reggie obviously should be able to meet with anyone else who's a city leader. I mean, we want to encourage that, and we have confidence in him. Secondly, I think that a couple things are true here. First of all, I mean, just as a matter of principle, I like this sort of technology. My colleagues in the Manhattan Institute Policing and Public Safety Initiative have worked with the NYPD on all sorts of technological approaches over the last 30 years, many of which I think have been directly responsible for at least what until recently was a substantial reduction in crime, violent crime in particular, and gun crime in particular. So, I mean, and concurrent with that, I mean, I do think that obviously Trent Court area is a possible hotspot, and that's not because of any issues we have. I think it's endemic in sort of public housing nationally. It's sort of, these things can go together. So I mean, I think we do benefit disproportionately from it, and I think to the extent that we can help out here, I think it sort of works around the inevitable public choice problem, which is that, you know, rich people living in safe neighborhoods don't necessarily want to pony up for crime problems that aren't in their backyard, but that are actually very real. All that said, I do think that, you know, whenever you have sort of a cross subsidy like this from one city, you know, one government agency to another, I mean, I think you got to be kind of careful about how you think about that. And so it's something I'd want to think through. And I also would love to see, I mean, I realize this is brand new, as Ricky said. But I do think that to the extent we can see data as soon as they're available on these sorts of reaction times that would confirm sort of these stories, I think the better. I like this in principle. I don't know enough about this technology to know. I don't think it's our job to second guess the Board of Aldermen on it. But I would love to see just some data as to how this may be working. So, but I think it's a great idea.
Thanks, Jim. So at this point, we don't need an official motion, but can I just have direction? Is there anybody who doesn't want to give direction? Jim, are you good with direction to let the executive director meet with the chief?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so you've got your direction to meet with him and come back to our meeting maybe next month and bring us some more information.
All right.
Okay.
Additionally, wanted to kind of share and just some additional information with you all, some quick updates. We received some responses, a pretty good number of responses on the CNI RFP. However, in going through those, the majority, if not 90%, had not had direct CNI experience. I talked to some HUD officials related to that particular issue. They gave me some additional comments. I've made adjustments to that and put the RFP back on the street. Because it was a 2016 finding, they gave me some recommendations to include in the RFP, which we've done. And so we put that back on the street, and then the deadline for that will be May 15th. So just kind of want to give y'all an update there. FEMA, I know we've been talking for the last couple of months because of our interest in some areas within the community. We did get tentative approval today on one of the topics that we have been waiting on to use potentially use alternate funding to be able to work with the city to purchase some houses that have been built by the Redevelopment Commission. We're going to have further conversations with them about that. But FEMA did give us concurrence on our view on those 3 houses, and we'll have further conversation as we go along with that. Airport Daniels, the city is completing the phase 1 and phase 2. Dana, in your vote, they came back immediately after that and agreed to cover the cost of the phase 1 and phase 2 because they have some brownfields money. Mm-hmm. And so we appreciate that. Our architect has gone out and did the field work on the site. They've come up because there was no records of that building anywhere. There was no city records. There was no state. There were no records, nothing at the county. So there were no existing plans or specs or anything of that school anywhere in this community.
But there's a lot of historical information, but there's nothing about
nothing on the physical building layout. So he's gone out and did the walkthrough. So now they do have existing site plans. They have as-built building plans to document the historical zoning and flood maps, and a pretty limited appraisal card. It just is on the land. So the land itself, based on that appraisal card, is around $350,000 just on the land. You know, I know that the school district has talked about more for the whole property, but just right now, the estimate on the land is around $350,000. He's going to start sketching some layouts for the school site that we can be able to look at a fit plan at some point in the future. Right now, we're focusing on just doing a fit plan on 2 and 3 bedrooms, just to kind of see what that number comes up to be. And then we'll come back and provide a more detailed report to the board at a later time.
But didn't the school board have a full appraisal of the property?
Yeah, they did. And it was a million.
Yeah.
It was over $1 million that.
No, understood, yeah. But I didn't know if did they do any footprint or layout? Was that didn't help you in any?
It didn't. No. And then a good thing, kudos to our team here. Besides the kudos I gave Julianne earlier in the finance committee meeting, HUD had scheduled for Newbern Towers an inspection under the new Inspire system that they've come up with. It was scheduled for March 27th. I contacted them and asked them if they would delay it until April to give us a chance to go through and do our own assessment of the building. I'm new, and so just kind of getting familiar with everything. We contracted with 2 HUD Inspire inspectors. They came on site, walked the building, unit by unit, floor by floor, and did a detailed write-up of all of the work that needed to be done. Our team did all of that work in 3 weeks. We broke it up. We issued work orders. They did a great job of completing that. And I'm happy to say that the inspection was performed today. The inspector only found 5 health and safety violations in the building. He's given us 24 hours to correct that. And otherwise, there won't be any health and safety violations noted. And he did share with the staff that in the new HUD system, that this was one of the best inspections that he's been a part of since the new system had started. So I want to say And if you all, I'll say on behalf of you all to the staff, they did a great job. They put a lot of hard work in, and they did a great job of making sure that we were ready for that inspection today.
It's great. No, really, that is really good news. Please thank them for us for pulling together.
Yeah.
Work makes the dream work.
That's right. And they did it together. So I just want to share that with you all. That's all I have.
Does anybody else have any questions of our executive director or anything else, Jim? Everybody good? Okay. Let's move on then to the towers and the Trent Court report and the Ross report. How do you want to handle that?
Those are information. One of the things we don't want to do is bore you all with something that you can read. If, as Vice Chair Bingle indicated, if something jumps out at you on a monthly basis when you all get those reports, please give me a call. We'll try to make sure we can address them. They're pretty self-explanatory, and especially now that Julianne has provided a mechanism to back into to the number, then I think we're in good shape. You know, we've opened it. You all voted last month to open the waiting list, so that part is moving forward, and that gives people in the community a chance, especially in the one-bedroom category, to be able to come in and apply, and we can build an adequate waiting list. But otherwise, those three reports are here as information for you today. Unless you got any specific.
Yeah, I have a question on the work orders. And I don't know, this may be part of what you had to correct. You know, you got 110, you completed 82, there's still 28 pending repairs. Was that all part of what you needed to do that's been completed? Okay.
Just for record keeping purposes, on the housing authority, that should be marked as 24. I think that's just an oversight and probably just use on the report.
Anybody have anything else? No? Any resolutions, sir?
No resolution.
Do we need a closed session?
We do not need a closed session.
Okay, before I adjourn, does anybody have anything else? Any other questions or anything like that to bring before this board?
You know, we talked a little bit in the past about, you know, the health and of our residents and all. And have you had any additional ideas about some added landscaping or at the towers, or getting with Army Corps or others, doing some foliage trimming and take a look at the whole plant area there, as far as, again, partnering with the city as far as a walking ability with the sidewalks and all.
So,
yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
No, because we're going to spend a lot of money. So we have been recently, so you're right on time. We just had this discussion, honestly, about getting the guys the proper equipment to be able to do it. We got some antiquated equipment that has not been sufficient for the guys to do the type of landscaping that we need. And literally, they picked up, what's the name of the company?
News Power Mode.
News Power Mower picked up 3 lawnmowers this morning. That's all broke. So, I mean, so that gives you an example. And some of them have been here since before 2015. So wow. To your point, Dana, we're going through that process to make sure. And then whatever we're not able, to your point, able to facilitate, yes, we'll work with the city and others to make sure that the physical plan of the property and the surrounding area is addressed to make sure that it looks nice and proper. And that's one of the concerns we have as well. And the guys came back to me and said, Mr. Barner, we want to do that, but the equipment we got is substandard and has been. And said, no, we're going to get you the right equipment. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of, I mean, you were right on time.
Well, I mean, you have aesthetically such a wonderful natural contour landscape, etc. And of course, I got my hands spanked a little bit years ago for some things we did at Lawson Creek, but the overall, I think, as the Queen of Jerusalem said one time, a little evil does much good. And, you know, to go in there and do some delimbing and where it is appropriate, and we could do some
Sure.
landscaping touch-ups, probably for the health of the citizens would be good. Would be my thought.
No, we agree with you wholeheartedly, so no, we're on the same page.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, hearing nothing, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion that we adjourn this session.
Okay, from Commissioner Powell and Commissioner Riddick, second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
You should keep on.
She must have just come.
Yeah, 'cause she wasn't on there.
Oh.
On all along? If she was on it,
I was gonna say.
it doesn't come anymore, it just comes.
Oh, okay.
I rode by right when that.
I got in late. I'm sorry, y'all. I sent a message.
So-
What are you talking about?
As long as you were here, that's good.
Ali, I
Thank
can't
you.
think of his name. The one that they